Hi again, everybody. Dan Franzak, Jerry Rosinski, JJ has the night off, and here we go, everybody. After rallying back in the second half to take the lead, Centerville goes for it on 4th and short in their own territory and fails to convert. Northmont would score a TD to send it to overtime, and then in OT, Northmont's Josh McLean on the receiving end of this go-ahead and eventual game-winning score. A huge ending to Ohio's big game for the Thunderbolts. Northmont going into Centerville and knocking off the Elks 28-21 on Friday. Northmont improving to 7-1 on the year, moving one step closer to the preseason. Hello to you, Ohio, the greatest football fans in the world. This is the Grange Insurance High School Sports Site. I'm Dan Franzak, joined alongside my partner for this and every sports site, former Buckeye captain Jerry Rosinski. JJ Huddle has the night off. Time now for our big game breakout. And Jerry, big win for Northmont, especially considering Centerville appeared to have this one all but wrapped up there at the end.
Well, going into Centerville and getting wins like going into Wisconsin and getting a win against the Badgers. But clearly Centerville, through the years, you go back to the Coach Greg era, the legend back in Centerville. You don't beat yourself if you're the Centerville Elks. And tonight you got to give credit to Northmont, but they'll probably question, why going forward in your own territory. You got the big defensive lineman carrying the ball. He's a commitment to Indiana. But guys getting your legs, I don't care if it's Beanie Wells. If you have to bounce it outside, you're going to get stopped on short yardage plays.
Centerville, to their credit, number 75, verbal commitment to Indiana, Adam Rapogel, really turning things around here for the Elks to bring back that comeback for them.
He's a great ball player, physical player. They love watching him out there in Centerville. Now, last year they got behind a very athletic quarterback. They had Cravens at tailback. They had different ways to do it on offense. Much more explosive last year. This year, though, they've been getting behind their guy, and I don't blame them. If you got that beef up front, they got an offensive lineman going to Illinois, a defensive lineman going to Indiana, you ride behind those guys. Traditionally, though, Centerville has made a living off those 180, 200-pound offensive linemen. Here they got the big guys, and he's having a terrific year. Tough loss, though, for him tonight.
And how about Josh McLean tonight? A couple of TDs for the victorious T-Bolts, and obviously the one that counted there at the end. How about that touchdown at the end for them?
Well done. We say it all year long. That screen game can just look so pretty. He catches it, gets some good blocks downfield, and the rest is just him getting it done. When you see him take it into the end zone, he shows a burst of speed that not many can do, Dan. He's a terrific ball player. Even when they lost to Ignatius in week 2, you could tell Northmont had the playmakers out there, and their winning differential since that game, they've been winning games by 27 on average. Wow. So they're dominating people. Northmont, if they get into playoffs, we're looking at a hot team right there. Haven't lost since week 2.
Centerville could be second-guessing themselves tonight. All right, ONN's Katie with them patrolled the sidelines this evening for Ohio's big game and pulled over the victorious Northmont team to interrogate them afterwards.
Coach, congratulations to you. What an exciting game. If you could pick out one thing, what would be the key for the Bolts tonight?
Well, I tell you what, I got to take my hats off Centerville because they did a great job up front. I didn't think we were going to get anything going in the second half, and they probably made a big mistake going for it on 4th down, giving us a short field, and thank God they did because we took advantage of it. And our kids made plays when they had to, and we big turnover there in overtime, won the game.
Well, next week you have a big game against Fairmont. What do you take from this game to help you with next week?
Well, we got to look at the tape and see where we screwed up at times and got to correct those mistakes because Fairmont's a great team and they're undefeated in the division. So, it's just one of them things that it's the Central Division of the GWalk, man. Every week's going to be tough.
Thanks again, Coach. Right,
thanks,
congratulations. Great game for you tonight. What was the best thing for the offense?
Oh, man, we just kept pushing it. We just didn't want to give up. Just had no quitting us. That's how we play. Just want to keep going all day. We just didn't want to quit.
And you were the man that made the difference out there. What was going through your mind, and did you know the ball was coming for you there at the end?
Yeah, I knew it was coming for me. I just thought I'd step up and just try to make the best I can do and just try to make the play, and it happened.
Great job. Dan, let's send it back to you.
All right, Katie, thanks a lot. Huge marquee matchup in Central Ohio tonight with another Friday night showdown matching two undefeateds. In Hilliard-Davidson playing host to Dublin-Kaufman, the short trip along 270. Shamrocks playing host to this one, and Dom Taberry was at this marquee matchup and found some friends on the sideline to help introduce the highlights.
Well, you don't get any bigger than this. First place in the OCC Central Division on the line, undefeated Dublin-Kaufman entertaining undefeated Hilliard-Davidson. Second quarter, no score, and Davidson takes the lead. Ryan Meadows, 3 yards for the touchdown. Extra point was no good, and the Wildcats led 6-0. And they're not done. Spencer DeLonde bowls his way in from 3 yards out. Try for two was good. Davidson led 14-0. Just before halftime, Kaufman gets on the board. Kyle Clinton is good from 24 yards out. At halftime, Hilliard-Davidson led 14-3. Third quarter, and Kaufman comes back. Jared Phillips takes it in from a yard out, and it's a 14-10 game. Fourth quarter, 2:30 left in the game. Kaufman looking at a 4th and 4 from their own 30, and the pass is nearly picked off. Davidson goes on to win 14-10.
This is it's fantastic, you know. I don't know, I just love it right now. You know, we've been waiting all season to play this game.
For the Ohio News Network, I'm Dom Taberry reporting.
All right, thanks a lot, Dom. And joining us now on the phone, time to go off the hook for our marquee matchup, the head coach of the Hilliard-Davidson Wildcats, Mr. Brian White. And, Coach, you got any fingernails left after that one? That was a nail-biter tonight.
Yeah, it was a great game, and we feel fortunate just to come out on top against a great opponent, and we're really proud for our kids and happy for what they were able to accomplish tonight.
Talk about great opponents. You got a couple more coming up. I know you're going to enjoy this one tonight, but then you got UA and Darby. Boy, this whole season you've had your hands full with a couple of great teams, but you've managed to come out on top.
Yeah, we feel very fortunate. We've played some really good teams, especially the last 2 weeks in Kilbourne and Dublin Kaufman this week, and then come back a couple weeks to week 2 when we played Brookhaven. Was another great opponent. So we feel fortunate to have beaten all 3 of those opponents, and we know we have 2 more great ones left on the horizon.
Coach White, Jerry Rosensky here, and I feel like maybe it's because of the success you all have been having lately, but I feel like you're one of those teams that got so many rivals. I feel like every week you're playing in a rival game. I'd ask you about Kaufman. Does this game feel a little different for you as you guys take on a team that's been powerful the past couple years?
Yeah, very much so. I think Dublin Kaufman is probably our greatest rivalry game, although Upper Arlington has started to develop into that, and that's what we have next week. And our sister school across town, Hilliard Darby, is, I guess, going to be a rivalry game for us now and in the future as we just started to play them last year. So, yeah, it does seem like we got a little bit of a target on our back now that we were able to accomplish what we did a couple years ago. But I'd rather be in that situation than the situation where everybody was scheduling us for homecoming, I guess.
Talk about your defense. 4 shutouts already this season, and obviously making a lot of plays, only giving up 10 tonight.
Yeah, they've done a great job. I don't know that I would say there's any real superstar on our defense as much as the fact that they just play as a great unit. And, they're not necessarily the biggest, fastest, or strongest group of kids, but they play with a lot of heart and great technique. And the coaches on that side of the ball do an awesome job getting them prepared. And it makes them fun to watch in the way they play with great energy.
You mentioned superstars, Coach. You've really never had those big superstars except for maybe Bo DeLandy when you guys won that state championship game. But is that something maybe you pride yourself in, just, I guess, having the players who just know how to embody that team environment?
Yeah, it does make it much more enjoyable to coach when the kids buy into the system that you run, and none of them are out for any personal glory. And even that year when we won the state championship, I think Bo DeLandy would be the first one to tell you that his success was greatly due in part to a lot of other guys, especially the 5 guys up front of him that year. But football is the consummate team sport, as you know, and I think our kids really buy into that fact. And we don't promote any individualism, and our kids don't seek any individual accolades, and so we're fortunate our kids buy into it.
Coach, I mentioned your defense, but the Kaufman defense had only given up 23 points all season long. As you looked at film with your staff, how did you plan on attacking that defense?
Well, we didn't see much that we could do, to be honest with you. We weren't for sure exactly what we were going to be able to have success with tonight. We were hoping we'd be able to run our option game against them. They had not given up a touchdown in the previous 5 games and had only given up 2 touchdowns the entire season. So when we scored 2 touchdowns in the first half, obviously we felt like we had accomplished something. And, it would have been nicer to obviously score some more points than that. But with the defensive performance we had tonight, the 2 touchdowns were able to stand up and allow us to win.
Coach Brian White, the head coach of Hilliard-Davidson Wildcats, 2 years removed from a state championship, looking pretty good this year, 8-0, well on their way to the playoffs this year. Coach, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you very much for having me on tonight.
You bet, Brian. All right, well, they may be in 2 different counties, but Brunswick and Strongsville are neighboring cities. It's the Pearl Road rivalry, 7-0 against 6-1. It's coming up next. Plus, Plenty of other contests with major playoff implications. Find out who's one step closer to the postseason next on the Grange Insurance High School Sports Site.